Hi everyone, welcome to Maximum Attack Rallying and to your Monday dose of rally related gibberish. There can only be one topic for this video, and that is Rallye Monte Carlo that took place over the weekend. And what a rally it was. Wasn't it nice to see the WRC back? And not only was it back, it was dramatic, exciting, and just generally very, very good to watch. I do love Rallye Monte Carlo. It is full of jeopardy. Even though there wasn't loads and loads of snow this year, there was enough to cause some challenges. Of course, the big story is that Seb Ogier took his 10th Monte Carlo win. 10 wins, just so glad in for a second. That is a huge number of victories. I think that's across 16 seasons as well. So his hit rate at this event is pretty fantastic. It is his home event, of course. He was born just outside Gap. So there's no denying it, though. It was a very, very impressive performance. He had a minor moment on Thursday evening where he went off the road, but otherwise it was a typical Monte masterclass from Ogier. Fantastic stuff. He even beat Elfyn on the power stage by 0.3 seconds after Evans had a little blip of his own on the power stage, which we'll come to. But it was just a fantastic performance, and just his record at Monte Carlo is incredible, isn't it? He, as I said, he's won it 10 times. In 2009, I think, was his first victory in a 207 S2000 when it was part of the Intercontinental Rally Challenge. And since then, we've had victories. I think it was 2014, 15, and 16 when he won it in the Volkswagen. He won it in 17 and 18, I think, in a WRC Fiesta. He won it in 2019 in a Citroen C3 WRC, and has won it with Toyota in 21, 23 and 25. This year was number 10. So that's just an incredible record, isn't it? Aside from the dominant performance on the stages, there was a couple of lovely moments at the end of the rally. He dedicated his win to his uncle, who was key in getting him into the sport. He passed away just before last year's rally. And there was another nice moment where he stopped, I think it was on Friday, in the village where he grew up, to change his tyres, which has become something of a tradition for him. And there was just this nice moment when a former neighbour just came and said hello, and he was interviewed by Julian Porter on the WRC coverage, and joked that no one was actually there because they were all out on the stage. It's just nice to see. You know, it's lovely for a driver to get to compete on home soil, and it was just a fantastic performance from Ogier. I think the only sad thing really is that he did hint at the end of the rally that it might be the last one. I think this, we have to take this with a pinch of salt, but he said, when asked about 10 wins, he did question whether that might be a good point to stop. I hope he doesn't. I know some of people would say that this is, it's time for him to move on. He should step aside and let someone else take that seat, let a young driver come through. But I just don't think I can begrudge him coming back and just doing that rally just for the fun of it, because, it's so good to see him there. The other thing I can't begrudge is you taking a look at the Maximum Attack Rallying merch store. Do go and check it out. There are many lovely things on there, including this Stay No to Space Frames t-shirt, and even this lovely snapback. Look, I have samples. This is ultimate sales pitch. If you're not into snapbacks, there is a regular baseball cap too. So go and have a look at that. Do a buy. It's very helpful to me. But let's move on to other things, and specifically Elfyn Evans. It was a very, very strong performance, I felt, from Evans. Second was a really good result. I think, yes, you could argue that he should be winning rallies even against Ogier, but beating Ogier in his backyard would be a big ask for anyone. So I think second place was really good. He has never looked comfortable in the Rally 1 car compared to how he was in the 17 era cars. He always looked really at one with those cars. So he's never really settled into Rally 1. But he's got his 2025 season off to a very good start indeed. He scored maximum points on Sunday. He was second fastest on the power stage. And I think that was a good sign for me. So Adrien Fourmaux, who finished third, he took a big chunk of time out of Evans on the penultimate stage. I think it was nearly 18 seconds, and he was about 4 seconds behind. He could have gone on to steal that second place. He was on the right tyres for that penultimate stage. And in the past, I think we might have seen Evans capitulate. You know, when he's under that pressure, it can sometimes be difficult for him, but we did not see that over the weekend. I think this was one of the key moments, was the way that on the power stage he put the hammer down, he put in the time to make sure that he stayed ahead of Fourmaux, and I think that was very, very good to see, because sometimes, like I said, that isn't his strong suit. So it was great to see him showing that level of pace under pressure. He was very, very lucky, though. He had a moment about 1k from the end of the power stage, ran a little bit wide, could have taken a wheel off that car, but got away with it. Nice to see him get that little bit of luck. It was a lucky moment that he did have a little joke about at the end, and if Elfyn Evans is joking about it, that shows that it was a moment indeed. So yeah, I thought a really good rally for him. The only drawback to his performance is that it means that he will be starting the rally first on the road in Sweden, so that's going to make things tough for him there. But it was a great performance overall. I want to get back to Adrien Fourmaux. It was a very strong Hyundai debut for the Frenchman. He did a very good job indeed. I don't think many people would have predicted that he would be the top Hyundai, but he did a really good job. He was consistent, he was fast. I like Fourmaux. I do like Fourmaux. I think he last year he looked like the real deal, and obviously got this Hyundai contract, and has already demonstrated that their investment was worthwhile. He had a good tyre choice yesterday on Sunday. Didn't help him on the first stage of the day, but did help him very much on the second. He was on super softs and a couple of non-studded snow tyres, I think, and that really, really worked on that penultimate stage. I think he halved Ogier's lead on that stage alone. As I said, he got to within 4 seconds of Evans and gave himself a shot, not just at second place, but actually of the win. But as it was, there was snow on top of the Col de Torini, and he just didn't quite get to take advantage of that and keep pushing in the way that he had on the penultimate stage. So he didn't get that miracle win. That said, it was a very good performance. He had a tricky start to Sunday. You know, Ott Tanak overhauled him, took that third place from him, but he didn't lose heart. He didn't drop back. He kept fighting. He took that place back on the penultimate stage, and took a very well-deserved third place. I think that first rally win is definitely going to come this season. He looks in fine form, performed really well. Again, like Evans, no pressure getting to him. He looks very much in contention for wins, so I'm very pleased to see that. Let's get on to Ott Tanak, who I mentioned just a moment ago, though. I think he had a reasonable rally. Monty hasn't always been the friendliest to Tanak. He's obviously had that big accident a few years ago. You know, he didn't quite steal that third place from Fourmaux, and he did eventually have to give up fourth place to Cali-Rompera. So not the best rally, but not the worst. I think there was 4 stage wins, so it was kind of okay, wasn't it? He's there, you know. I think this isn't his strongest event, so now it's just, you know, get some points on the board and keep building. Probably similar for Cali-Rompera. It didn't seem like a particularly good weekend for the two-time champion. First rally, obviously back full-time. He had just the 1 stage win, and just didn't seem that comfortable in the Toyota. Talked all weekend about not being too happy, even at the end when he'd stolen that 4th place. Didn't seem very happy with his performance, and even joked about seeing in Sweden whether he can still drive a rally car. I think that's a bit of a stretch. We know he can still drive a rally car, and I think he is very much a favourite in Sweden. He'll have good road position, so I don't think we've got anything to worry about in the longer term, but not a great rally for him. It was also not a great rally for Thierry Neuville. Very, very bad weekend for him, really, the returning champion. 2 offs on the same stage on Friday, and he broke the rear suspension on the I-20 on the first of those offs, and basically just put himself out of contention for any good result, really. He also got a fine for that because he was driving the car on the road section with a wheel hanging off it, and that is not allowed. Not allowed. So a shame for him. I think he only scored 1 point on Sunday, so there is definitely some work for Thierry Neuville to do there. Not the dream start that he got in 2024. So he will be looking for improved fortunes in Sweden. Let's move on. Let's move on to M Sport, to the final Rally 1 competitors. The first of those is Josh McAlean. He is the final classified finisher in a Rally 1 car, and it was a decent debut, wasn't it? A decent debut for M Sport in Rally 1. I think it's fair to say that he wasn't super fast, but he did a job, didn't he? All he needed to do was get that car to the end, rack up the miles, get used to it, and he did that. He filled the brief that, I think Rich Milner said it at the end of the rally, get the car home. And that's what he did. He did exactly what he needed to do. He wasn't super fast. He was faster than I'd be, but he did the job. And he, when you consider that Sami Pajari didn't finish, Takamoto Katsuta didn't finish, they both crashed out on the final morning, and most importantly of all, Gregoire Munster didn't finish, he crashed out on the final morning as well. That makes McAlean's result look all the better, doesn't it, if he finished in 6th spot. One, I do want to mention Munster quickly. It was a very mixed weekend for him, wasn't it? He set his maiden stage win, so that was a good thing, but he didn't finish the rally, crashed out on the first stage on Sunday, and you just can't do that, can you? You can't keep binning the car. Stage wins are great, but you have to bring the car home, and he failed to do that, so not a great weekend for him, unfortunately. Let's move on though. Let's just talk about WRC2 quickly before we wrap this up, because there are a few things to mention in there. Chief among those is that it was an all-French podium in WRC2. Johan Rossel won the category in a Citroën C3. Good performance from him, but no great surprise. He usually goes well at the Monte, and he did a fine job, didn't he? It was an impressive drive. Rossel is probably the man who flies under the radar a little bit, doesn't it? I am surprised he isn't mentioned more when it comes to getting Rally 1 drives, but he did a very good job. Pushed hard on the power stage, which he didn't really need to do. Took a few risks there. But it was a very good result. What made it even sweeter, though, for Johan Rossel was that his brother Leo finished 3rd in WRC2. That was lovely to see. You could see the emotion for Johan Rossel when he got to the end of the rally. Him and his brother both on the podium, and I talk about it being impressive for Johan Rossel. Leo Rossel's drive was even more impressive, finishing 3rd, not just on his WRC2 debut, but on his Monte debut, was very impressive indeed. French national champion, so obviously a good driver, but making that step up to WRC2 and being on the podium is a very good start for him. Going to be interesting to see how those guys continue throughout the year. In 2nd place was Eric Camely. A good result for him, very good result indeed, and a good result for the i20 Rally 2. The Hyundai is definitely not the best of the Rally 2 cars, so it was a decent result to see that finishing 2nd. I should mention Nikolai Gryzin, Gus Greensmith and Oliver Solberg. They were all there, but were not competing for WRC2 points, so their result didn't really have any impact in championship terms. And for Johan Rossel, he's probably fairly happy because he beat all of them anyway. Probably the biggest thing worth mentioning with those 3 guys is the fact that Oliver Solberg got a 5-minute point penalty for doing a little skid in front of fans in Monaco after the rally. So, naughty boy Oliver, I get it, I get why you did it, but I also get why you got penalised for it, because the FIA do not like that sort of thing on the public road. So, there we go. That is it. That is Monte Carlo. The first round of the WRC is done. Was it good? Did you enjoy it? I enjoyed it. I thought it was a very good event indeed. Typical Monte mayhem. Let's call it mayhem, because it was a little bit dramatic at times. Is there anything that stood out to you? Do let me know in the comments below who your favourite driver was, who the best performance was for you. As always, like and subscribe. I am very grateful that we've now hit 2,000 subscribers, so do appreciate your support. Make sure you follow me over on the socials as well, and I will see you again next time.